Stream Sports.
3, 2, 1.
Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into another edition of the JP Peterson Show on this beautiful Tuesday morning all around Tampa. Oh, my God, driving over the bridge this morning, just fabulous. It's absolute paradise. Don't we love living here, folks? And we got lots to get to today. We're going to talk some more Bucks draft, do a little deep dive in that. We're still giving away some Top Golf tickets. Just give us your best take on the Bucks draft. We already got some people hitting us up on Twitter, so we'll do read some of those as well. So for whatever your take may be, it could be funny, could be interesting, one line, whatever. We'll pick some of those, and we'll give you some Top Golf tickets coming up at Raymond James Stadium this weekend. Going to be really cool, or actually the 4th through the 7th. You can pick on when you go, hitting golf balls in the stadium. It's going to be fun. So we'll do that for you. We got to hug the Rays a little bit. We kind of ignored them last week. We had draft and lightning playoffs, so we kind of gave them a short shrift. But not anymore. We'll hug them up as they open a series against the Pirates today.
Yeah, as JR would like to say, business is about to pick up.
Yeah, yes.
With your Tampa Bay Rays.
Yes, absolutely.
Starting tonight against, are they the second best team in baseball, the Pittsburgh Pirates?
Who's JR? Is this some wrestling reference again?
Here we go. Yeah, Jim Ross, good old JR.
Okay. So, yeah, we're going to hug them up. We're getting ready. We're going to beat them up a little bit, too, for their Yankees series prices. A lot of fans talking about that on the Twitter. But we'll also – this is going to be a really interesting week because they've got a really, really good baseball team coming in. And I'm worried about them losing games to this really, really good baseball team. And they are rolling right now. And the Yankees are coming in this weekend too.
Yeah, but
I'm talking about the Pirates. The Pirates are a good basebtle team right now. They're 20-9. The Yankees,
these aren't your daddy's.
We got
Yankees.
the weak sisters coming in this weekend. No Judge. Are they even 500? They're still over 500. I know they've lost 4 in a row.
They are 15-15.
Mediocre.
Last place in the AL East.
How is Brian Cashman holding on to his job?
Well,
how long has he been there, spending billions of dollars and winning nothing? What I mean, how is that even possible?
It's great if you're a Rays fan.
I know.
Keep that guy in the chair as long as you can.
We love him.
And they got like 20 guys on the injured list, and you know what? I got no sympathy. No sympathy because the Rays had to do the same thing last year.
Yeah.
And now you see the healthy Rays.
Right.
The difference, 23-6. So
it's a little different.
I got no sympathy for the Yankees. What I am upset about is I paid so much money for these tickets to go to the game on Saturday.
Oh, no.
And now I'm seeing the last place Yankees without Aaron Judge, without all these stars on this team.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm getting gouged a little bit. Well, Stanton's on his obligatory,
of course, yes.
IL stint of the season.
So no Judge, no Stanton.
No Judge, no Stanton. It's a long list of guys.
So their payroll on the bench is about 5 times what the Rays' active payroll is. Like, seriously.
Well, if you just put Judge and Stanton together, you've already surpassed it.
Yeah. Think about that for a second. So we'll hug up the Rays a little bit. There was some interesting NBA action last night. I watched with amazement the Joker. Because, I don't watch a whole lot of full NBA games. I was doing some work last night, so I popped it on after the Devils dispatched the Blue Shirts, which was just lovely to see. Bye-bye, Rage. The only thing would have been better if that was an MSG. So they're out as well. Boy, the NHL playoffs. Who are these people?
Absolutely nuts this season.
Yeah. Who we got? Panthers, Toronto,
Carolina,
Devils
in the East.
Right.
And in the West, you got Edmonton, Dallas, Vegas, and Seattle.
Yeah. The West is actually a little bit more interesting. The East is just kind of
The East is wide open, really wide
open. The East is wide open. So lots to get into. But I was watching the Joker, and, I've seen his game over the years. It's fun to watch. Like Barkley said last night, it's like, man, you just got to hand it to that guy. He ain't spectacular, but, man, he balls out. He balls out. He does it all. He's an MVP. We'll find out today. I think Embiid's going to get it, but
I don't think you should, because based on what I saw yesterday from James Harden, I ain't giving Embiid the MVP.
No, but the Joker is just you can't It's like there's nothing you can do against that
He's
guy.
one of one.
He's one of one. He can't jump a lick, but he doesn't have to. He's just this 7-foot gigantic man. When he lifts his arms up, you can't block the shot. It's like Kareem's sky hook. You can't block it. He just turns around. He can three it. He can elbow it. He can fade away. He can jump hook it. And all the time he's holding the ball up here, just watching guys run and throwing
by
passes.
the way, that's what I'm saying. He's one of the best passers of the generation.
Unbelievable. It's just like this big galoot who's it's so talented and sees the game so well. He's like a wizard out there.
He's like Tim Duncan on steroids, I feel like.
Yeah.
He's like he
shoots so much better.
That's what I'm saying. He adds extra elements to his game that Duncan didn't have, but I feel like he's like this generation's version.
39 and 16 last night. He almost had like 40% of their points. It wasn't a high-scoring game.
What did I tell you about the Phoenix Suns, by the way?
Yeah, you're right. They had 4 points from their bench last night.
What did I tell you?
4 points.
They got 2 good players.
Yeah.
And you keep trying to talk to me about DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah.
By the advanced metrics, there's like 72 players that qualify to be graded. Guess where he ranks? 72.
72. Wow.
Of all the players in the playoffs, in regards to efficiency on the floor, he stinks.
When he wants to play, he's got all the skills and can be a player. But he's what, 7 foot, 230, 240.
Yeah.
He's just dwarfed by Joker.
He doesn't play like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
And KD also has been crap.
Yeah.
Absolute crap.
I would, he used to be a transcendent playoff player where he just could go for 40 anytime, get his shot anytime he wants, score at will. Those days are gone.
Yeah, it's Devin Booker,
days are
and
gone.
can somebody please make a shot along with me, please?
Yeah. And KCP stepped up last night big time. They hitting big shots. It's going to be an interesting end of the NBA. And now you got Steph and LeBron going back at it for the 5th time.
God, I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
I haven't been so excited for an NBA game in so long, I feel like.
That's a lot of star power. All the accoutrement is going to be out tonight. Oh, my God. All the stars, everybody want to be seen. That part of the NBA that's just like, ugh, but that's it's going to be a spectacle. It's going to be a spectacle. So some interesting things going on in sports right now. We'll cover it all for you today, but we wanted to kind of dive in on the breaking news. It's actually not too much breaking news. We told you all of this yesterday for the most part. Had a little bit of inkling on what we'd hear today. The Lightning are doing their exit interviews, and this is has become it's like the schedule reveal now. It's the injury reveal. What have the guys been playing with in the postseason and all season? And as expected, Chernak has a severe concussion. Braden Point had broken ribs, which we kind of told you yesterday. That hit, those 2 hits, and that's what I said yesterday. Those 2 hits changed the series. Those 2 dirty hits. I mean, I hate to say it like this.
Point said he didn't think it was a dirty hit at all, but
Well, they're workout buddies. What's he gonna say?
yeah.
Go look at the tape. It's a dirty hit. I mean, when I slowed it down, it's like he's going down, his head is leading, right?
Yeah.
And I know it's split-second stuff.
And
We're looking at a slow mo. There's not a little nudge. There's 2 hands pushing. It's not okay. It wasn't slam. It was, okay. Are you going? Well, let me just help you a little bit here, which is so dangerous. And I'm sure Riley feels very bad about it. I'm sure he feels very bad about it. And in a moment, he probably went, damn, I didn't mean to do that. But you did it. You did it. It's physical hockey. It's the playoffs. I get it. But that was a dirty hit, and it was a penalty, and it should have been the 5-minute major that they said it was in the beginning. I don't know how you go and replay that and say, okay, no, now that I've looked at it, it looks a little bit better.
And if you want to point out a singular moment where the series was dramatically impacted, it was not getting that 5-minute major
right
before that.
Right.
And obviously before that, the goal that was disallowed, a point to make it 4-2,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because maybe they don't end up blowing that lead, and you go up 2-1, and we're talking a completely
totally
different
different deal. It's a totally I don't want to sit here and bitch about the refs and say the refs cost us that series. But just as you perfectly explained right there, that was a convergence of 2 calls. And don't forget the other earlier call in the game, which was clearly a goal that they disallowed and then had to go back and with the obvious replay showing it was a goal.
Yep.
I mean,
it was a wreck.
They were bad calls, and they all went against the Lightning.
Yeah, and it was this, but it sums up the entire series.
Yeah.
When it comes to calls, puck luck, everything.
Everything.
To me, the Lightning just
it was
couldn't
like
get it.
Either the hockey gods or the people in Toronto were just saying, enough of you. Enough of you guys in Tampa. We've had enough of you. We know you're probably the better team here, but we're just done with you.
It is a tough pill to swallow, though. It really is. For 2 straight years, because they had to go on the whole run last year without Braden Point.
That's right.
And we've had this discussion, given the way Braden Point played this year and how important he was, and I think he was the best player for the Lightning this season.
He had 51 goals.
I think, again, it's revisionist history. I hate to bring up the past, but if he plays in the Colorado series, maybe that's different. Who knows?
Yes.
And then for him to get hurt in Game 3, and I said he was probably playing towards 60%. It might have been even lower than that, to be honest.
He couldn't absorb any contact whatsoever.
Broken ribs during a grueling, taxing series that was really physical.
Yeah.
And he couldn't really get involved. The top line was a no-show because you got 1/3 of it, and the most important piece to that line, I'd argue, that just could not play up to his standard.
Right.
So it's a tough pill to swallow. It's 2 consecutive years where your best player is just a non-factor.
Let's take Marner and Riley out. How they doing?
Not great.
Not great. And let's not forget the Chernak. That's as dirty a hit as you're going to get.
Yeah.
So 2 dirty hits changed the series. I think if that's a narrative. 2 dirty hits and some questionable officiating. And can you say the Lightning missed opportunities? Yeah, but this was going to be a close series. You make that many dramatic moments impacting the series, you're not going to win. You're not. Crazy things are going to happen, like losing 3 overtime games at home. The Game 3 they should have won. That game should have they should have won the game.
Yeah, they still got nobody to blame for themselves. Honestly, for at least those 2 games. They still have nobody to blame but themselves. They still had enough there and played well enough to win those games. And they couldn't close, which is something we've never seen from this team before.
Right.
So, given everything...
not having Chernak...
Yeah, I know. Given all the factors...
in a major way.
I agree with you, but you still got to close. You still got to close in the big moments. So, it's just a lot of everything, right?
These are not excuses.
There's a lot of
reasons.
Exactly.
They're reasons.
They're reasons for things happening. And I'll tell you what kind of scares me a little bit about the Lightning moving forward. I think they've played well enough to show me that their window was still open, but I thought this was interesting, and I heard this yesterday. Teams that have gone on these dynastic runs, I guess, if you want to call them, right?
Right. It's a great word, dynastic.
I love that word.
Well done.
Love that word. How they fared after winning their last Stanley Cup or anything. In Chicago in 2015, when they beat the Lightning, guess how many playoff series they've won after that?
How many?
0.
How about that?
The Penguins won 2 in a row in 2016 and 2017. Guess how many playoff series they've won since?
None?
One.
One?
Okay? The Capitals in 2018. Guess how many playoff series they've won after that? 0.
Wow.
The St. Louis Blues in 2019. Guess how many they've won after that?
Nothing.
0.
Nothing, nada.
There's some history here showing that these teams that finally get it done or go on these really good runs and stuff like that, it comes a time where there's a brick wall that just comes out of nowhere and stops them. Now, I'd argue the Lightning are in a little bit different situation from those teams, and I'll just compare them to Pittsburgh, where their entire core got older together, and the Lightning's core is considerably younger now than Pittsburgh was even back then, right?
Right.
And also, you take into account that those front offices have kind of been a mess.
Yep.
Chicago, Pittsburgh, I'd argue Washington to an extent, where
it's a great observation.
Where the Lightning have really good stability with Julien Brisebois, who's a very strategic GM and is trying to keep them afloat. Maybe the situation's a little different, but I found that very interesting, though, that I saw that these teams, for whatever reason, and now you got to go throw Colorado in there. Now they couldn't win a playoff series. So there's a streak going back here now, a long time, of teams that win the Stanley Cup not being able to follow through on it.
Well, and that's why this run is so amazing.
It's an outlier.
It's an outlier. And it's not just coming back and winning a couple series. They won a cup.
Yeah.
They won a cup.
And went to another.
And then went to the final again.
Yeah, so they're already basically the outlier in that whole equation.
Insane.
But you just have to wonder now that they dropped in the first round, where can they come back from this? Because we know the Eastern Conference is going to be even better next year, and points are going to be hard to come by in the Atlantic specifically, right?
Yep.
So, you're going to expect a little progression from Boston, yeah, but I think every other team in the Atlantic is going to take a step up next year. So The Lightning, and this is an offseason that they have not had. I mean, I know they've had to deal with a lot of exits, but just for future stability, this is the last year of Stamkos' contract. We don't know what's going on with Alex Killorn. The bottom six has got to be remaked a little bit.
Yep.
There's a lot of questions around this team going into this summer.
And they don't have a lot of draft capital to trade. They don't have a lot of draft capital to get good players. They're not going to be drafting in a position where they're going to get any impact players. There's a few pieces down at Syracuse, but even that's dwindled a little bit. I'm trying to think who's down there.
Although
Barbalet is down there.
that team continues to win, though.
Exactly. That's a great sign. Because you don't see guys come. We didn't see Darren Radish coming like this. We didn't see Perbix coming like this.
No, and those two guys have really helped out because
that's tremendous.
We would have told you going in the offseason, okay, they've got to fix this defense pair.
Yeah.
But now they got 5 guys that I think you can roll with, and now you really only got to find one more guy.
Absolutely. So I think those two developments, but they've got to. You want AC Mon, I think, is going to be good, and I think Tanner Jeannot is going to be good. I think he's going to be a good player. You don't score 24 goals in your rookie season and then just fall off the mat. The way he's going to become a better skater here. The Lightning make these players better. They just do. They become better in this system. They're a lot like the Rays, right? They bring guys in and they become better than they were before. Whether it's the skating coaches that we hear so much about, the structure, the culture that's here, they become better players. So we expect that to happen. Stamkos. Maybe he's got a couple, 3-4 more good years in him. The way he keeps his body in shape, as hard as he works, I don't think that's. You look around the league. There's guys that play that long into their, Kucherov's in his prime, Sergei's in his prime, Hedman's got some good years left, Vasi's in his prime still. I mean, there's nothing to. The sky is not falling.
Yeah.
If you sit here and tell me that, like the Blues, that the Lightning aren't going to win a series for the next 3 years, I'll tell you out of your freaking mind. Same thing with these other franchises that you just mentioned. That's not happening to the Lightning. That's not happening to the Lightning. And maybe because they have the stability in goal, maybe because they have stability in coaching, stability all the way around. A lot of these other teams, I mean, you look at Calgary. They win the Pacific last year. They lose this year. They fire their coach.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just it's a lot of knee-jerk. We didn't fire John Cooper when he got swept by Columbus. We didn't do that. That would have been stupid. But other teams seem to do this crap all the time, and then they just kind of start over again, Whereas the Lightning aren't going to panic because they got ousted in the first round. They're not firing John Cooper and getting rid of everybody.
Yeah, that's why the Rangers are going to the next team up now. It's like they're probably calling for Gallant's job now.
Exactly, and that's just stupid. There's a lot of things because especially when you look at this series, did John Cooper do something wrong? Was this team not fast enough?
To quote Steven Stamkos this morning when he was speaking, we did the right things for 95% of this series.
Right, and that's hockey. That's hockey.
Just hockey.
You want to blow things up like some of these other teams do because just hockey? I mean, no, that's just dumb. But thank God Jeff Vinnick's not dumb, and he understands this game and how it works, and certainly Brise Bois does as well. But there's, for the Lightning to get back to that level, I think Brise Bois has got to reach into that magic hat and pull something out. I don't know what it is. I don't know who it is. It may be a scoring forward that we don't know about. He's got to find a way to get another 20, 30 goal scorer that may be able to take over for Stamkos coming in. There needs to find another Braden Point. He needs to find another Cirelli. Who's that guy?
And I told you to this too, by the way, before we went to the postseason. And now it's easy to say it again now after what happened, a first-round exit. But I would not call this a great year for Julien Brisebois by any means. There was a lot of let me just be honest. I mean, there was miscalculations on the guys that he brought in. When you go up and down of who he brought in last year with what he had to work with. Vlad Nemesnikov was a bust.
It's a whiff.
Ian Cole was a whiff.
It was a whiff.
Bogosian, a whiff. Hayden Fleury, a whiff. Philip Myers, a whiff. None of those guys impacted your D-core at all in a positive way. In fact, it was the exact opposite.
That's fair.
The Jeannot trade, whatever you want to look at it, at the moment, the jury is still out on that one. That was a big swing. And he's probably the only GM in the league that was going to take that swing.
Okay. I'm fine with it.
So I got to see what happens there.
The same thing about Gaudreau.
Same
thing about Coleman.
To me, if you want to just
2 cups later,
I know that, but if you want to look at the acquisitions and the moves he made this year, the only one that I think you got good value for was probably Mikey Eyssimont.
Yeah.
for the short time that he was here. I mean, you can maybe can you add Perbix to that a little bit, because he was kind of I don't know if he was really the plan for him to. He kind of just earned his way into the lineup at the beginning of the year.
Right. Yeah, I don't know if you give. Well, obviously, if you would have told, if Breezeball would have recognized that Perbix and Radish, and this is a big reach, we're going to be this, he wouldn't have spent money on those other guys.
Probably, yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, but that's look, as far as I'm concerned, you fielded a really good hockey team this year. You went into the first round against a team that had 111 points in Toronto that traded their entire franchise. They got 6 guys. They're going all in, and you were the better team. You were the better team. You should be sitting there playing Florida right now, looking at another conference final. Think about that. Think about playing Florida right now, where you would have home ice advantage as well. I mean, and the Lightning, they should have won the series in 5, maybe 6 at the latest. And we should still be talking about it and still be enjoying hockey, if not for a couple of dirty hits and some really bad puck luck.
I mean, that's how it rolls. That's how it rolls in the playoffs.
That's my narrative.
That's
how
how
it goes. Problem with that? Let's go. Come at me.
That's just how it goes in the playoffs.
Really bad
it's
officiating, you jerks.
It's just how it goes in the playoffs. Like, nothing should surprise you anymore.
No.
Given how these series go. Like, am I that surprised that, like, Boston got knocked out in round 1 by Florida? I mean, I kind of went into the series and I told you, I said, Florida has a shot in this. They have a shot in this. And they played really well in game 1. All they needed was breaks to go their way, i.e. Bergeron missing 4 games with a herniated disc.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of opened it up a little bit for Florida, right?
Yeah.
You get hot at the right time. Seattle, same thing with Colorado. They got some really good breaks. I don't know if anything surprises me.
Bobrovsky is just
yeah, so
he's that guy now.
I just don't know if anything surprises me more in the playoffs. I mean, the Lightning played as good as you possibly could and went home in 6. The Rangers, meanwhile, played probably as poor as you could in a series, and that somehow went to 7 games, and they had a chance to win the series.
Boy, they played. That did not look like a 7th game effort from the Rangers last night.
Every game they played after game 2, there wasn't any effort.
Or just the Devils are so much faster than them and made them look silly.
They're in trouble right now because the Rangers were in win all now mode, right?
Yeah.
The Devils, meanwhile, were like a year ahead of schedule.
Yeah. And
you couldn't beat them now. When are you going to beat them?
Right.
It ain't happening.
Yeah.
And Patty Kane, by the way, whew.
Yeah.
What a failure. For months, right? Where he basically forced his way to New York. I think he left Chicago kind of weird. I think it was the whole weird transition there out of Chicago and into New York. It didn't feel right.
Right.
And then he goes to to New York, and he was completely a non-factor in the series. So was Tarasenko, and they spent all that capital to get these guys. It didn't work out. So now I have questions about New York long term.
I think they've injured themselves long term. I think with what they've given up, and you could say somewhat about the Lightning, but I don't see the core in New York like you have the core in Tampa moving forward. You don't see that. I mean, okay,
they still have it. Panarin, Zibanejad.
Yeah.
Adam Fox is, I think, the best defenseman in the league at the moment, and then you got Shesterkin and net. So you still have the DNA there, but they're young guys. I mean, they had a first overall pick in Alexis Lafreniere and a second overall pick in Capo Caco, and they haven't developed. Lafreniere, by the way, 7 games, 9 shots, and 0 points.
You got to hit on those guys.
Yeah, and then those are the big questions with them right now.
Yeah. Yeah, the Lightning have hit on theirs. Stamkos has had a Hall of Fame career.
Yeah.
Vasilevsky, the 9th overall pick?
He was 19th.
19th.
Yeah. Yeah. And you contrast that to New Jersey, they had the number 1 pick twice in the past 6 years, and it turned out to be Nico Hischier and Jack Hughes.
Ding, ding.
Slam dunks.
Ding, ding. Yeah. So, look, the Lightning's future is bright. We get any other information? So Chernak concussed, which, R.J. Martin. Hey, welcome in, R.J. Martin. How are you? Agree with this. I think there should be. Let me just go ahead and put you up on the stream, R.J. Martin. Agree with this. I think there should be no sense of panic with this team, and saying that I think it's going to be JBB's toughest and most important offseason he's had yet. I would agree with that. I definitely feel like Cernak being in would have also changed those late Leafs comebacks. 100%. Cernak is a guy that, first of all, does not back up when Nylander's coming out. If I see that one more time, man, me and Chief are just like, what are we doing? Like the times that we backed up, at the blue line, well, you just
You just can't give teams that much space.
Not those guys.
Especially Riley, who was playing like a completely different player in this series than I've seen him before.
Again, Chernak doesn't do that. He dispossesses you of the puck.
Yeah.
And there would have been much more physical. They just work so much better as that shutdown pair. It was a huge loss.
Yeah, I had a couple updates here, going through all the players that were speaking. First of all, Killorn, his status, asked if he wants to leave Tampa. He said, "No, I love playing here. I love everything about Tampa. I don't want to leave. It's just you have to look at all the angles for sure to make sure you make the right decision."
Right.
And again, he has to test free agency.
In other words, listen. If it's a difference of $1.5 million AAV, $2 million AAV, I'm not leaving. But you got to give me something.
Yeah, and JBB said it, just summing it up here, he said, "I know it's going to be a challenge. He wants to stay here. We love to have him here. He means so much to the organization, both on and the ice, but it's definitely going to be a challenge."
Do we have some sound there from Killorn?
The sound has not popped up yet because they're still speaking right now. This is all coming in live time right now.
All right.
So hopefully we might get it towards the end of the show here.
Yeah, so you have your best player in Braden Point, broken ribs. Also, he's the shoulder was also an issue. Did they mention that? Because I'd heard that as well. That
they did not mention
shoulder popped out
the shoulder for him.
Back in.
As you had said the other day, Hedman hip impingement.
Hip impingement. Yeah,
for
we've
him.
known that. Yeah.
I think that was the injury.
Couldn't say it, but we've known that.
I think that was the injury. So I think it was 5 guys. Who were going through stuff.
And by the way, a hip impingement sounds like and a hip impingement. Ooh, you can't skate without your hips. And if you've had a hip impingement, which I've had, it's hard to get out of bed. It really is.
And what's crazy though, it's like I know it's probably hard to move, especially as you're describing, but I would have never known watching Victor Hedman in this series.
Yeah.
I thought this was the best hockey he played all year was in this series, to be honest. Maybe not on the score sheet, but I thought defensive impact, I would never point to him as a problem for some of these issues.
He made a lot of big plays. And I thought he was very aggressive offensively, didn't get rewarded as much, but he was firing pucks and he was okay.
Yeah.
He was probably 75-80%.
Yeah,
maybe, but
and I'll tell you this too. My whole takeaway just from reading some of these quotes from Vasilevsky and Stamkos and Kucherov, they would love to continue to keep playing hockey throughout the summer like they have been, but the theme I'm getting is they are almost relieved to get a full summer off to get sharper. And Vasilevsky mentioned that, this is going to be big for me specifically to get all this rest and I can come back next year sharper, healthy, all those things. So it might be a blessing in disguise, at least for this team right now.
What happens, as it was explained to me by someone within the organization, is you get injuries on top of injuries. You get a hip impingement, right? It affects your knee, the way you're playing. Your knee gets a little bit sore, okay, because you're trying to guard against the hip impingement. Then your knee, everything is connected, right? So you just don't feel good.
Yeah.
So in the I think what they're talking about is we can get everything healed and start fresh, and then go. So you're not 80. A lot of these guys are from early in the season too. When I think Hedman sustained this injury, you're just chasing it all year long.
Yeah.
You're just never good enough as you need to be to win a Stanley Cup, to be at the top of your level. So yeah, these guys, I think after the initial disappointment, and I'm big in the subconscious mind and things that are out in the universe. And I think to some degree, and we talked a little bit about this, they had played so much hockey, and you kind of knew in your heart through the whole season that they were gliding to get to they were kind of, I love this analogy we've talked about in terms of a marathon. They were just running in the pack, and with their hip impingement and their broken ribs, and they're moving along, and they're like, okay, we're going to get to the playoffs. All right, we're good. We know who we're going to play. Let's just going to kind of chill here and get ready for Toronto, because I'm going to have a kick, man. And when we get to the playoffs, I'm going to give it all I got. And that's our strategy. That last 3-4 miles, we're going to be ready as we can be. Then you get in the slog, and it's like, oh, we just lost Chernak, man. Oh, Point's got broken ribs. Okay, let's go. And maybe those late-game collapses are just part of your subconscious mind going, I need a rest. Your whole body is not all in. You're not, focused on the cup, and I gotta, I got to get that ring. I got to get that cup. It's just a different mindset, you know. And I think as much as you want to trick yourself and say we're going to give it all we got, and we got championship medal, we're going to do it. I still think in the back of your mind you're like, you know, if we do lose, this time off is going to be really good for us. We kind of just need this. And maybe that creeps into your game a little bit. Maybe it doesn't. But it's just, I got that sense from this whole season, you know, and that's, however that narrative figured out at the end, that's what happened. This team was mentally and physically exhausted from 3 years. I mean, just what you mentioned with these other teams, they can't even sniff a first round. This team won another cup and then went to the finals. They're exhausted.
And they did it both years.
Toast.
And let's not forget, they did it. Talk about overcoming adversity during those runs. We forget the first year was the ultimate with the bubble, and
Right.
on top of the fact that you didn't have Steven Stamkos
Right.
for all but like 7 minutes
Right.
of the entire
2 minutes,
postseason.
37 seconds, yeah.
Right? Then the next year, you finally get everybody all together, and they completely just ran roughshod on the entire league.
Yeah.
I thought in 2021, and then last year you have to do it without Braden Point, and they still find a way to get into the dance, and you're 2 games away. These other teams, like Colorado, for example, like you lose a couple players that are important to your team, and it just
fall apart.
changed everything.
Completely fall apart.
It changed everything for Colorado. You take Bergeron out of the mix for Boston, or not close to 100% Bergeron in there, completely different team than the one that won 65 games and 135 points.
And I'm going to say this about Colorado. They're still a great team.
They are, and they're going to be a favorite next year.
But that's what I'm talking about is that mentality. Once you get full, once you drink from that cup, you get that full belly, it's hard to come back. And they couldn't do it for 1 year. The Lightning did it for 2 years. Come on, man. I mean, that's the other narrative I take from this. It's just like, you know what? Let's bow down to what they've done over the last 3 years. Let's just take a moment and say, look at the rest of the league. Look what you guys accomplished. And you went through a 4th year, got to the playoffs, and should have won the first round series. I'll give you an extra attaboy just for showing me that you should have won this series. And you could have been playing Florida in round 2. It's like Brian Engblom said on our post-game show. He goes, for the favorites, that first round is the toughest round to win. It's the toughest round to win. And you can make a case that if the Lightning would have gotten past this, are you scared of Florida? Are you scared of Carolina or the Devils? No. I mean, are they good teams? Could they beat us? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But am I going into it going, oh, we got no shot?
Oh, no.
No.
I don't think there's any team right now that I would say that about.
Right. So you were that close.
Yeah.
You should have won the series. You should be standing here with Florida on your plate, with 2 home games to get ready to go, with home ice. And then with the Devils or Carolina, wait, I'm good. And then when you get to the West, is there anybody out there that you say, oh, we can't keep up with any of those? No. So, all this, and you'll see this in the national media, the Lightning's time is past. The dynasty has run its course. Bull freaking spit. Don't believe it. It's not true. Look at the guys that you got in that room still. I'm good.
And just to answer Jeremy's question here real quick before we hit the break, what about Hagel's contract status? He's got 2 more years at 1 more year rather, at $1.5 million, and then he's an RFA, arbitration eligible, the following year. So he's going to be in Tampa Bay for the long haul. All
right, we're going to take a quick break. TJ Reeves coming up next from Bucks Radio. Bucks sideline guy will join us next. We're going to talk about the drafts, the ins and outs of some of these personalities, and I'm going to ask the question, was this draft more about the future? Was it more about next year? Was it more about Todd Bowles? What was this draft all about? There's a lot of interesting guys in this draft. So let's hit that question when we come back. Stay with us. Hey guys, are you experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had? It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well, so do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area modern medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability, not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. Have you been injured in an accident, in an auto accident, truck accident, motorcycle accident, at work, or at a place of business? Well, call the Jeeves Law Group and get the personal attention that you deserve. I made the mistake many, many years ago with going with one of the bigger law firms, the national law firms. And let me tell you, getting a call back from those folks was next to impossible. Weeks and weeks would go by, never get a call back. That doesn't happen with the Jeeves Law Group. Personal attention is what they're all about. When you call the Jeeves Law Group, you will be part of the family. They will represent you in a vigorous and aggressive way against the insurance companies. These larger companies will promise bigger settlements, but it's the Jeeves Law Group that will get you the best results. If you're tired of dealing with these bigger law firms, check out the Jeeves Law Group. Go to JeevesLawGroup.com, tell them JP sent you, get a free consultation. It's the Jeeves Law Group. Scott Jeeves has been representing clients in the Tampa Bay area for over 25 years. Give them a call. It's a free call, 727-894-2929, 727-894-2929, or go to JeevesLawGroup.com.
Coming back at you.
Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES Lawgroup.com. Scott Jeeves is coming in Thursday. Gator football, be good to see him. And if you have any questions, legal questions, you can always comment and tweet at us, and we'll hit them up because of free legal advice as well. All right, let's bring in our good friend TJ Reeves, Bucs sideline guy. No hat today. So, last time we had to go Bucs, we could go Lightning. But since we're talking about the Lightning, good morning to you, my friend. How are you?
Good morning. Good to be with you, boys. I am rocking on behalf of the Twins the Steinbrenner Warriors apparel, though, today.
Okay.
No hat, but I do have the Steinbrenner Warriors rocking there.
I want to get. We're just wrapping up our Lightning conversation. You just had a great quote that was just printed. You want to read that one, Nick? I want you to hear this, TJ, because I think this kind of sums up all the guys and how they felt this year.
Yeah, this was the quote from Vasilevsky. He said, probably the first 30, 35 games felt as usual, but then just me and my body weren't on the same page. All those small injuries came out at the same time. My mistake was that I didn't really pay attention to recovery. I kind of kept pushing myself to the limit. Now I know that sometimes during the season I have to be more smart and take care of my body more often recovery-wise.
And that's fair.
Yeah.
Look, I heard a lot of what you guys were saying there in the last half hour. JP and I were kind of talking off the air, and this is not nuclear secrets. They were not the same team down the stretch of this regular season. You could see, especially defensively, JP, night in and night out, you were there watching them give up 5 goals, 6 goals, 7 goals in games. So you can't say that this was that big of a surprise that they were still giving up goals even in a playoff series like this. And the goalie was not the same for whatever the reasons are. And it's not excuse making. It's not rationalization. It's the truth. They played a ton of postseason hockey 3 summers in a row, and 2 of them kind of quirky bled all the way into the next regular season. Bear in mind, you guys know this, but bear in mind that the 2020 year basically the postseason bled like 2 months later into let's start the regular season, and the Lightning played all the way through until late July in the final playoff season of 2021. Then you come back around after the couple of months again. They got on the same track that was late October, right, that they started a little later, and you played all the way until late June this past year in 2022. And then you started on the normal timeline again in October.
It's ridiculous.
So the point is, there is no other team that played that much hockey in that compressed amount of time and yet they still had that success. So I'm not making excuses on that, but maybe this will be a good thing here for the next 2 or 3 months to heal up, refocus, be motivated. And Nick, I like what you said. You're going to have to make some decisions here on contracts. We know this, younger guys who can help. You gave up a ton to get Tanner Jeannot. You got to hope that guy delivers because you gave up a lot of premium picks that could help you this year and next year in the draft, potentially. And those draft picks maybe weren't going to help you immediately in 2024 or 2025, but definitely you got to hope those guys that you made moves with. And I like what you said also, JP. John Cooper knows what he's doing, and they've got a formula that works. And Brisebois knows that the formula that works and the type of player you have to have. So just regroup, go away, regroup, let everybody talk about whoever the champ is this year, and be ready to go next year.
I'll bet anybody if Tanner Jeannot stays healthy next year, he's a 20-plus goal scorer.
And the revealing thing was he was dealing with a high ankle sprain down the stretch of the season in this playoff series, and they just now they don't have to reveal this stuff. They just now have revealed because everybody was going bonkers on why is he not even active in Game 5 and Game 6. And one of the things I said to a couple people privately is this has got to be, I don't know this for sure. I don't report on the team. I don't do injury information. This has got to be some kind of injury that is also bothering him. Yeah. Because you go down with your best guys. And that coaching staff, that training staff has to know he's half the guy or, a quarter of the guy that he would normally be. We got to go with somebody else who's healthier to give us a chance to win in Game 5 and Game 6. Otherwise, you go down with your guys. So there you go on Jeannot.
And maybe, that should have been what they did with Braden Point. But he's such a good player. He's such a good player. But as we saw last year, he tried to play through an injury, and you get to the point where he's just not effective. He can't do it. And that top line I hate to say it, but Toronto's top line outplayed ours and by a vast number in terms of the points. But still, I thought the Lightning were the better team, should have won the series. It could be sitting here waiting for Florida again.
It would have set up amazing. You talk about shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Right.
Look at the East is completely wide open now. The Lightning are gone, the 3-time champs. The number 1 team in the league that lost twice the whole year. Okay, maybe that's an exaggeration. They're gone. They're not even around for the second round. Yeah. And then the Rangers, I got to say this. As much as it was misery to watch what happened to the Lightning, it was almost fitting that now it has happened the same way to the Ranger and Bruin fans and media. Yes. Nick, I don't know if you have the cricket sound effect. Can you play the cricket sound effect? Because what is that? What? We don't hear anything from them now. Because Boston fan, Boston media, New York fan, New York media. Goodbye.
At least they can hang their hat on the Celtics. Oops.
Oh yeah.
Oops. Or the Knicks.
Or the Knicks.
Oops.
Well,
what happened there?
And again, the NHL needs the bigger markets and more so maybe even in the NBA. And to not have a Boston-New York matchup in round 2 that they were looking at potentially having.
Okay, so it'll give you lots of TV.
But just to reinforce this one more time, okay, a couple of different ways. The Boston Bruins have 1 Stanley Cup victory literally in 50 something years, like the early 70s. The New York Rangers have 1 Stanley Cup win in over 80 years, and it was 1994. The Tampa Bay Lightning have 2 in the last 4 seasons. They have 3 in this century.
Yes.
So be glad with what you have. Be proud of what you have. There you go. There you go on that. I know you want to move on.
Right. So let's talk about this Bucks draft. And I think it's a worthy question. A lot of people are asking, was this draft about this year? Was it about 2 years away? Was it Todd Bowles' draft? He got Jamel Dean signed. He got Levante signed. He got 2 of the first 3 picks were defensive players, 5 defensive players. The Bucks are spending a lot of capital on fixing a defense that frankly did not fare well against the better teams last year. Let's just be honest about that. Their overall numbers were not bad, but when the chips were on the table, CD Lamb's running wide open in the corner of the end zone. We had issues. There were issues and needed to be fixed. So I'm not sitting here saying that Todd Bowles got everything he wanted. But I think it's such an interesting draft, and it's loaded with players that have high ceilings. You don't know what they're going to do, but man, I mean, Trey Palmer's a perfect example. I mean, here's a big kid who runs a 4.3 that, has 1,000 yards of receiving, 370-yard touchdowns. Like, oh yeah, we need a guy to take the top off the defense. How the hell we get him in the 6th round? What the hell's wrong with him? I don't know, but he may turn out to be that guy. What do you think as a whole?
So it's a very valid question. Are you playing as much for 2023, or are you just as much playing for 2024 and 2025? I think it is fair to say that out of this draft, you're counting on at least 4 of these guys or 5 of these guys to be key contributors. Even if you got them in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th round, you are counting on them to be key contributors in 2024 and 2025. This is where you're reloading with young, inexpensive depth that you believe will blossom into key players next year, 25 and beyond. You have to have that. And we keep joking in Jason Light we trust, in the front office we trust. You did have to get under the salary cap. This is the way to do it. Get in there with younger 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th round picks that don't cost very much, that can help you contribute. And you look at a year ago where you're grabbing Rashad White and you're grabbing K. Dot and you're grabbing Jake Camarda, that again fit this mold of a young player that is very cost effective while you're sprinkling in all the different veterans. I'm intrigued by the Trey Palmer one. Again, off the air, we should say to the JP audience, we did a little session with Luke Easterling, who was putting on a master class about this draft. He did it privately for us. And JP, he brought up the name, Nick, you can verify this. He brought up the name Trey Palmer to us and said, this is a guy in the 5th or 6th round that Jason Light is going to take a look at. He almost spoke it into existence. I don't know. You can go back to Kenny Bell. Kenny Bell out of Nebraska. Speed, big guy, kick returner, never panned out.
Right.
So you're trying to, Scotty Miller, again, speed guy, smaller school, smaller player than what Trey Palmer is too. Yeah. You don't know, but maybe this guy can really help you, like you said, because you've got 2 bona fide Pro Bowl stud receivers when healthy in Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Now you need somebody to stretch the defense, and maybe this can be that guy. I'm intrigued by Yaya Diaby. What a name, from Louisville.
Yes.
One of our colleagues, Mark Ennis, who's a Tampa guy originally, he has been the kingpin of Louisville sports radio for going on a decade. They are the ESPN affiliate in Louisville. I texted my man Ennis, my Buccaneer brother displaced in Louisville, and said, Yaya Diaby, and I'm getting emojis and exclamation points. He loves this guy's work ethic. Louisville has kind of had bad seasons the last couple of years, but this guy continued to play hard, outside rusher, and Ennis just kept saying to me, got better and better and better at Louisville. So I'm very interested in that pick later on in the draft.
His physical numbers are just off the charts. They're in the 97th percentile in everything. I just really interesting. And you talk about this. I know people say, well, they didn't get an edge rusher off the top. I'm like, well, listen, it's getting a better pass rush is the overall goal, right? Did they not affect their pass rush with this draft? Oh my God. And I have a sneaky suspicion that this Jose Ramirez kid, I love the undersized, really productive players. Now, he's not going to be Derek Brooks. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
The reason Derek Brooks fell was not because of his production in college. My God, the dude made every single play there was to be made and every big play. But he was what? He was undersized. He's going to be a safety. Remember that? He's going to be a safety.
So I will pick up on that very point, because I still remember what is arguably the most famous and impactful Buccaneer draft ever, which is the 95 draft with Sapp and Brooks. Yeah. I was on the air that day doing live sports radio on the Saturday of the draft. And at that time, I believe, best of my recollection, they were doing the entire draft on the Saturday. So in other words, they would start at noon and just go.
Glorious.
So we were there at the local sports bar, doing the local sports radio thing. An hour before the draft began, we're doing the build-up show. And we sat there the entire time. And this is 15 minutes a pick. And that first round, JP, literally took like 6 hours.
Yes.
And about hour 5 is where Rich McKay and Sam White and the Glazers, who had become the new owners, jumped back into the first round, trading with whom? The Dallas Cowboys for Derek Brooks. And I vividly remember all of the criticism and questions everywhere. And this is infancy of the internet, no social media. Was this guy's not big enough to play linebacker in the NFL?
Exactly.
Just to emphasize what you were just saying.
Yeah.
He maybe projects as a hybrid strong safety. These are things that were being said building up to the draft and on draft day. My God, how wrong was that? With Derek Brooks now 25 plus years later being in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So when you hear these things about, is he big enough? Is he whatever? I always go back to that day, that afternoon. I mean, we were at the sports bar. I ate like brunch. I ate lunch. I ate dinner. It was still the first round, and we were still on the air going back and forth about those two picks that the Bucs had made. And there were questions about Warren Sapp. He dropped to them. There were questions about making this trade with the Cowboys to get back in the first round, give up a future, I think it was a future first round pick. That they jumped back into the first round to get Derek Brooks. But the whole point about being undersized, I lived that, brother. I lived that back in 1995, and look at how it worked out. So just the pundits don't know it all. They don't know this. They don't know the ability to get coached up. They, those things are all factors.
So that's Jose Ramirez. He's a 6th-round pick. Is he going to be a 15 sack guy? I don't know. Hey, Shaq Barrett was a 19.5 sack guy. Where did he get drafted? He didn't even get drafted.
To the point, that's a guy that the Bucs bring in on a free agent deal that doesn't cost very much out of Denver, and look how they have coached him up. Look at what he turned into once he got here. That's the point.
Yeah, and by the way, our thoughts and prayers still going out to Shaq for the rest of this.
It's horrible. The whole thing, and you guys have articulated it, and everybody else have articulated it.
How's it affecting the I know you're in.
There are players that are obviously horrified, and what do? And you try to be there for him, and it's an awful situation to have a toddler fall in the pool and drown, and the family is all home and witnessing this. This is what happened on Sunday. It's horrible, and he's coming off an injury as it is, and all you can do is try to wrap your arms around him and be there with him. If you're his teammates, his coaching staff, etc. It's an awful situation, and let's hope that family can heal first and foremost. Forget about football. I mean, Buccaneer fans, forget about football right now. This is a horrible thing that Shaq Barrett's other kids were around and witnessed on Sunday. Get some perspective. Him being on the football field, I'm not trying to end this on a down note. We'll cheer it up some other way. Him being on a football field, that doesn't matter right now with what's going on behind the scenes, just to share that a little bit with your audience.
Yeah, and I don't even know how he can come back and play in any time, practice, workout. I hope he finds some normalcy in his life through that. Because
let's bring it to one that you and I covered and we were around, and that is Matt Bryant, the kicker.
Oh,
and again, I mean, and in this case, it was a sudden infant death situation in the crib with, I believe it was either his 4th or 5th child with he and his wife.
Yeah.
And one of the things he said, and I believe this, is that you're obviously agonizing. You're grieving, but to go back into the facility and get back to some normalcy and get around your teammates and get your mind off of it and be able to go through your routine, it helps with the process. The hope would be, and Matt Bryant ended up, I still remember, JP, just while I'm storytelling on the Tuesday, the game was against the Green Bay Packers that week. After all this had happened, and the Bucs, remember, chartered a plane and the team flew to the infant's funeral in Texas. Those that wanted to go, staff members.
Remember that, yeah.
Okay, they came back. You covered this.
Yes.
So now they play the Packers, and Matt Bryant basically wins the game in the final 30 seconds with a field goal. One at the very end is the final minute with the go-ahead field goal, and they seal the deal. And I'm now interviewing him as soon as it's over, right in the corner of the old Raymond James locker room, right in that corner as you came in off the entrance. I'm there with him. The rest of the media is coming in while I'm talking to him first. And he got through the first answer all right, and he started to give the second answer, and he just choked up. And I put my arm on him, and I said, it is okay. It is okay. Finish your answer if you want. It's okay. And Josh Bidwell, the holder and the punter, was standing right there too. Mm-hmm. And he said, I want to finish this. I was doing this for Trison, for my son. I was doing this. I was out there for him. Oh, my gosh.
Oh,
I mean, I'm choking up right now talking to you.
God,
This
man.
is real life,
Yeah.
Buccaneer fans. Forget about whether Shaq Barrett can help you rushing the quarterback right now.
Yeah.
Let's deal with Shaq and his wife and their family, and then worry about football down the road and be there for him. But the hope would be get through this, get around your teammates, get back into the routine. Let's hope that will be the case and get him back to at least the routine of football later.
And I'll say this just to end this part of the discussion. Matt Bryant, he's a very, very faithful and religious man. For whatever you want to think about what your religion's beliefs are, that sustained him. It sustains him today. He's a wonderful father, as other great children, obviously, and it come through it. I won't say great. It's obviously going to affect you, but that faith, that belief that you'll see them again, they're part of you. They'll always be part of you. That matters. I don't know where Shaq is on that scale, but it matters. And Matt came through that tragedy, and they're a great family. They're a very happy family. They're wonderful, wonderful people. So there can be a good ending to this. It's not the end. So I wish that for Shaq. I hope he finds that
Amen.
peace.
Amen. And that's all you can do is love on them, hug on them, and try to help them. It is a horrible thing for sure. All right, so let's cheer it up. You got something else to cheer it up before I leave?
Yes. I said this yesterday, and I think I may just go ahead and go down to the DMV and make this happen. Servassier Dennis. I want to be called Servassier. I'm changing my name officially to. I just love that name so much, and I'm so glad.
You want to be a sir. You want to be a sir.
How can you not just say that name and just be
it's a great name?
Servassier. And the dude, I just love his story, his ties to Tampa Bay, his dad growing up in St. Petersburg, all the family in St. Pete, military family, again, a little undersized, chip on his shoulder, great measurables, loves football, brings the wood. Another great pick. I just love it.
And Kalijah Gansey is going to love the fact that that's one of his teammates from Pitt that will be here going through this with him. So it's really neat to have that guy there. And you got 3 ACC defenders when you include Diaby from Louisville.
That's right.
That are coming in. We'll see. And again, be encouraged, Buccaneer fans. This administration, Jason Light, Spytek, Mike Greenberg, that entire staff, their scouting staff, they have repeatedly found young guys to contribute. Be hopeful, be excited, not just for 23, but for 24 and beyond, that you have found 2 or 3 or 4 key contributors here that are going to help you down the road. I mean, I'm interested in this kid, Payne Durham, the humongous, he's not that fast, but the humongous tight end from Purdue. You watch some of his athletic plays and catching the football, red zone, third down, goal line, those kind of things. That's exciting to watch.
He's sneaky fast.
We'll see. I mean,
sneaky fast.
He's wearing 87 at Purdue. Do they give him 87 as a tight end with the Bucs and replicate the Gronk thing, or does he pick another number? What happens there? I don't know. But there's and I love, you didn't ask me, but Cody Mauk is how you say it, because I keep hearing everybody talk about it. The old manager of the Angels and the Phillies was Gene Mauch, spelled the same way, but he says Mauk. So we're going to go with it. No teeth, long red hair. Buccaneer fans, Ali Marpet and Alex Kappa from Division III and Division II schools, and this is now an FCS guy from North Dakota State. What do you? Does anybody want to wager that this guy can't play? That this guy isn't going to be physical and exactly what you're looking for to blend in? I'm excited to see what that guy can do come July and August.
Well, let's keep, unlike Gedeke, let's keep him at a position that maybe he's familiar with. Although he's not going to play left tackle. He's not going to play left tackle.
And bear in mind, they believe he can play guard. Yeah. And again, I'm with you. We'll trust that they have a slot for him at guard or maybe he's part of the competition at tackle with Gedeke or Hainsey or whomever else. I love, as soon as I saw that pick on Friday night, I immediately flashed to Ali Marpet. There were people laughing at this team for taking Ali Marpet. Yeah. They weren't laughing a year or two later. Yeah. Alex Kappa ended up getting like a $40 million second contract from the Cincinnati Bengals because of what we developed here in Tampa Bay. So look out with Cody Mauk. I'm interested in that one too.
All right, partner. What's going on with you? Tell people where they can find your content.
Hey, I'm taking it easy right now with the Buccaneer official draft party over with. We're doing some boxing on Big Fight Weekend, some other podcasting stuff, and then it will be football season and Buccaneer season before we know it. You have me back on whenever you like.
Yeah.
We don't know what to do with our May and June that we don't have Lightning playoffs for the first time in like 3 different May and Junes. We took the break in the pandemic year, but they came back in late June or July, whenever that was, and started playing the playoffs.
Well, we got a pretty good baseball team to hang our hat on.
Yeah.
So
because everybody had the 20-win Rays and the 20-win Pirates playing on May the 2nd in Tampa.
That's just what we said in the first cut. It's great that we're going to have this great team coming into Tropicana Field this week that's red hot and really fun to watch. And then the Yankees come in at the end of the week.
Well said. Pirates, Rays on the national radar. We love that too. So we'll keep up with all that, boys.
All right, partner. Always great to talk to you. Thank you.
Great to be with you, boys. Happy Tuesday.
Great story there on. Always get a great story out of TJ. The great historical search.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? I'm listening to, going through all the draft picks again, and I was reminded that, this draft was interesting in that this was the highest rate, I believe, that 5 stars, right, were drafted. It was like an 81.
That transferred from their high school recruiting ratings to the NFL.
81% hit rate, which was like up 70% or something over the last 3 drafts.
81% hit rate on 5 stars being first-round picks.
Yes. And even throughout the draft as a whole, like the 5-star guys, there was a big hit rate there. And I'm just interested at that because look at the last 2 Buccaneers drafts and where Jason Licht has gone. And I'm just trying to pick up on maybe philosophy changes and things like that. Like Kalijah Cansey was an undersized, probably 3-star recruit if I had to assume, right? And goes to Pitt. Cody Mauk, North Dakota State, right? Yaya Diaby, not highly recruited. Same thing goes for Dennis in the 5th, Payne Durham. All these guys were not highly recruited. And then you go the year prior, Logan Hall, not highly recruited. Rashad White, not hardly recruited. Cade Otton, Zion McCollum, all these guys. And you kind of contrast that. Does Jason trying to do a different philosophy with the draft the last few years where he's taken some guys from bigger programs when he first was the GM and he got burned by a lot of these 5 stars? And I point to Vernon Hargraves. I point to Noah Spence. I point to O.J. Howard. I point to Jameis Winston. Those are 5-star recruits that he picked his first 3 years as a GM. And how many of them panned out? The answer is 0.
Yeah.
So I picked up on that as well, that 5-star recruits this year are getting drafted like crazy, and the Bucs have gone a completely different route. In fact, they're getting the guys who were undersized and maybe the chip on the shoulders and didn't go to big colleges. So just a little trend I picked up on there with their draft.
Okay. I want to talk about a little bit more about Kalijah Cansey. That I was watching some of his tape, and it reminded me of somebody. And I would do that when we come back. We'll take a break, and we'll talk a little bit more about that when we come back. Kalijah Cansey, just such an interesting cat in so many ways. And I know a lot of people were kind of, who? I love the pick right from the beginning, and there's a lot of reasons why. So we'll do that when we come back. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group and Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Had Chris Lugo on yesterday, their medical director, talking about the new True Body system they have over there. Get on that machine, and it will lean you up. He's got, overweight people working on it. Fashion models are using this. A lot of people using it to get optimal results. So it's something that's really, really interesting. Go to the website, find out more about it, BAMMC.com. Back in 3. This is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on True Body and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and 0 downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com. Insurance coverage can be confusing and expensive. I mean, where do you start? Which companies can you count on to pay out fast and fair? Well, call the great folks at Italiano Insurance. It's a family-owned business. Jeff and Nat Italiano are carrying on the 60-year-plus tradition of giving amazing customer service and giving back to the community through their annual backpack drive for needy students and their support of the local pediatric cancer patients. But it's the customer service that sets them apart. They can shop all your insurance needs and save you big-time money. Don't hop on the internet and waste time looking at some bogus reviews. Talk to knowledgeable agents and not some voice-generated robot. These are confusing times for homeowners, and Italiano's team of experienced professionals can provide the right coverage for every situation: home, auto, business, life. It's Italiano for all the pieces of your life. Call 813-877-7799 or go to italianoinsurance.com.
Let's go. Right now. Back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. As we're going to roll into the second hour, brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center, Italiano Insurance, the Gold and Diamond Source, and American Mortgage Services, and, of course, the great folks at the Jeeves, JEEVES Lawgroup.com. Fun conversation there with TJ Reeves. I didn't let you ask a question, though. We were so involved in it, so I apologize for that. Was there something you were going to bring up with TJ?
No, he was hitting the points like all over the place. So right. I was like, well, that was my question.
We didn't talk about Josh Hayes, the nephew of Geno Hayes, who lives over there in Lakeland, played 6 years in college football.
Yeah, North Dakota State and Kansas State.
Yeah, also went to Virginia for 1 year, transferred
there.
Been around. He's got some speed, but, there's probably some questions about his he lasted to the 6th round.
Sixth round, and he was supposed to go undrafted. But, I mean, I heard the story. Scott Reynolds was telling it that he jumped out to the Bucs because he came on one of these, like, local visits because he's from Lakeland. And most guys come in and just, like, meet with the coaches, whatever, and leave. But I guess he, like, volunteered to work out and was, like, down to do that. And I guess Spytech said that guys typically don't do that, so that kind of helped his chances a bit. So maybe they decided they really loved that work ethic right there, and it's a position of need because he can play nickel, and they don't have a nickel corner right now, so it worked out for him. So I already like that already.
Yeah. And, a lot of these guys are going to have to play this year. This Bucs season is going to be so very, very interesting on so many levels. And first of all, can I just tell you the level of irrelevance that the Bucs have already been reduced to? If you've been watching, I watch a lot of NFL Network, NFL Live. I like to watch a lot of NFL national shows. You could not get through the second block last 3 years without them talking about the Buccaneers. I have not heard the Buccaneers name mentioned once, except for when they were picking in the draft for maybe the last 2 weeks.
That's
fair.
Fine. That's fine. I made it.
Fair?
I made it my entire life as a Bucs fan like that.
Exactly. We are completely reduced.
I actually
to
like it that way a lot better.
Yeah, I think that though
when a team, because when I hear national media when they're covering your team finally, and as it's been the case for the Bucs the last few years, I learned so much about how these guys just aren't paying attention to what's actually going on.
Yeah, especially locally, they don't know. So I just retweeted this the 40-yard dash of one Kalijah Cansey, and there's something that jumped out at me right away, although for some reason it's just saying video unavailable, and I just tweeted it out from YouTube. When you look at him run his 40-yard dash, there's something that jumps out at you, and that's his. You know where I'm going with this. What Mickey Andrews used to call high ass. That boy's got a high ass. Between and spitting, he would say, "Yeah, I will look for boys with the high ass. They can run and they can change directions." And he called them like haunches. He's got haunches. Like you see a thoroughbred stallion, they got that big backside, and they're just so powerful in the lower end. And Derek always looked, I don't want to say weird, but different. He had a really big trunk. Let's just put it that way. But was so fast. And Kalijah strikes me the same way. What it does is it allows you to get underneath guys and just become incredibly powerful using leverage and being able to get through the quickness. And he's a special kind of athlete. He's just different. And he's probably about a 225 pound running back with his athleticism, playing at 280 pounds and strong as a bull and knows how to use. Some guys just know how to use leverage. And when you watch his tape, that's what you see. It's kind of weird because he's so much smaller than a lot of the other guys, but he's just moving people and moving around people. And you just don't want to go there with the Aaron Donald stuff, but it's almost impossible not to. And just because he played at the same school and is the same size, does not in the same position, doesn't mean he's that guy. Aaron Donald is a once in a generation player, but damn, if the tape don't look just like it, if the demeanor isn't just like it, he's like a freaking clone of this guy.
Well, it is interesting. Like, I look at him actually, and like, I don't know. I don't see the Aaron Donald. I know like the measurables say it, but I don't know if this makes sense or not. They still, to me, don't look quite the same. Like Aaron Donald, like when you see him, like when he has his shirt off, this guy is freaking like jacked to high heavens, right?
Yeah.
I don't see that same type of body type with Kalijah. To me, he has a little bit more.
He's a little softer.
I don't know how to say this without it coming off bad because I'm not meaning it to be that way. Like I perceive him to have a little bit more of like a gut.
Yeah.
Like he's a little bit more built.
Or sap.
That's to me, he seems more like, if I had to compare him to somebody just from a body size, he looks more like Warren Sapp to me than he does Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
Now that's still very unfair to compare him to Warren Sapp.
But Sapp was the guy that played tight end in high school and a little bit in college. Of course, famously caught a touchdown pass and did the Beyonce boogie dance. One of the greatest celebrations of all time. But no, I think that is almost kind of a better comp. poor kid. Jason Light comes out and goes Warren Sapp, John Randall, and Aaron Donald all in 5 minutes while drafting this kid. But I don't want to compare him to anybody. That's too much pressure. Well, that came out of your mouth. Sorry. But they're excited about him. And, just watching all his interviews that he's done, he's not a very talkative kid.
Yeah.
But he smiles. He just got a great demeanor about him. Very likable kid. He'll blend in well with his teammates. I just love the pick.
Yeah, and 2 notes too about the pick. So like number one, everybody's wondering like, okay, what about Logan Hall? And
what about Logan Hall?
I understand like it's easy to say, okay, well clearly the Bucs have given up on Logan Hall. Again, I give the guy a pass for year one. I just do when it comes to interior, defensive linemen. And here's the other thing with Logan Hall. His comp coming out of college was actually Will Golston. If you compare the two.
But Will was 30 pounds heavier, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, but I mean, like, if he put on weight,
Yeah,
that was his play comp.
Yeah, but when Will got here, he was big.
So my point there is Will Golston's not under contract right now. Maybe he comes back for a year, whatever. But I could see Logan Hall trying, if he can put on a few pounds. And when I say few, I'm talking like 15 pounds realistically, at least.
Or more.
Or more. Maybe he could fill the Will Golston role.
Yeah.
And that can be his spot.
I just, when he was drafted, that was my big point. I don't like 6'5", 285 pound tackles. Like you're not a big edge guy, and you're going to play high because you're 6'5", and you don't have enough anchor in your ass to keep you. And you watch the way he played; he got blown off the ball.
Yeah, and
he played too high. He didn't have leverage. Like Kalijah Cansey will not be given up. You didn't even need to double team Paul. You just moved him. It just wasn't. He just didn't anchor in. You ain't moving this guy.
No, and I think he complements perfectly next to Vita Vea. I will say too, and they better hope they can keep Vita Vea on the field and healthy.
Damn right.
Because now what they have though is they have 3 really undersized guys at that position. So you take Vita Vea out of the equation, then you probably get pretty soft up front pretty quickly, I think, especially in the run game. So,
big time.
so that's the
Big
one
time.
thing I'll just, again, that's just doomsday scenario if Vita Vea gets hurt. But on the field, I think they're going to work out well. And I think Greg Gaines is also going to contribute well, too.
He's going to have to.
All these guys
He's
are going to
gonna
play
have
a
to.
lot.
Yeah.
Greg Gaines will probably play 40% of the snaps, if I had to argue.
Well, you think about last year's draft class. We don't know what these guys could do. Kalijah Cansey's going to be a starter. I don't think there's any question about that. You start him next to Vita Vea. That's not even a thing. Cody Mauch.
Yeah, Mauch.
He's going to have to earn it. He's going to have to earn it because he's going up against a grown-ass man in Robert Hainsey, a scrapper in Nick Leverett. Aaron Stinney has played in this league. Gedicke's got a lot to prove. Where's Mauch playing? Is he going to start? Well, okay, come in. If he's that guy, if he's that Ali Marpet, then he should be starting. He should be starting at left guard. Nick Leverett's an undrafted free agent, and I love his story. And good luck beating him out, Cody.
Well, here's my issue with Cody Mauch and like where he's going to fit on this line. Is he was a left tackle in college at North Dakota State. That's his comfort zone. Now, you can tell me his arms are too short and this and that to play left. I'm not going to dispute you on that because there's history that tells you if you got short arms, you can't play tackle.
Right.
That's a thing. Skoronski's going to find that out now at Tennessee.
Right. And he's going to be a guard.
And he's going to be probably a damn good guard, by the way. But when it comes to Cody Mauch, I mean, this is my fear is we did the same thing with Gedicke. Right. He was a right tackle in college. He was undersized.
You better play him at left guard, not right guard.
That's my thing. We moved him all the way across the line.
Different punch.
Are we going to move Cody Mauch across the line to right guard?
Don't do it.
But my question there is, Nick Leverett, did he do enough last year to tell you that he's the left guard? Does he deserve to be called the left guard right now?
I think so.
My eyes told me that he did.
I do too.
But clearly they want some kind of competition. And remember, that's the other thing last year.
That's fine.
That's the thing last year the Bucs didn't get, actually. They brought in Gedicke, and he was supposed to compete for that job, if you recall.
Right.
But an injury to Aaron Stinney changed everything for the Bucs.
Yes.
They changed everything, and they had no option but to put Luke Gedicke in guard. So it feels like they're going round 2 with this. Let's get more bodies in here. Let's get competition.
It was not just Stinney's injury. It was Stinney's and Jensen's injury.
Yeah, Jensen
because Hainsey would have easily moved over into that left guard spot, but he had to play center.
Yeah, so
which is one of the reasons I was mystified that they didn't go out and get an interior lineman when that happened.
Yeah.
Right there.
And so maybe they're just trying to add more bodies to this because they saw what happened last year when these things went on. They know they've got to run the ball better, and a lot of that starts with their run blocking. And the guys they have there right now, maybe you could say that's their problem, is they're not good run blockers.
Right.
Clearly, we saw that last year. And I know Cody Mauch was like graded out like 90 or 92 or something like that when it came to run blocking. So, again, though, it's still the one pick that I'm like the most indifferent on at the moment.
Yeah, because, if you look at some of the players that went after Cody Mauch that were still on the board, trying to get to this number, were there guys that were, you want to talk about a guard, Osiris Torrance, some people had a first round grade on him as a guard, and that's his natural position. Hendon Hooker was on the board at that particular time. And by the way, I've made a mistake the last few days, and TJ pointed this out to me in our off-air conversation. I've been saying that the Bucs don't have a quarterback under contract in 2024 because I heard another reporter say it, and I took it for gospel. But no, he is under contract. This is just his 3rd year. So next 24 will be his 4th year. And they feel like Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask will step up and be as good as any quarterback in this draft. And that sounds ridiculous because these quarterbacks have been hyped up for 3 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, if you go look at Kyle Trask's numbers in the SEC his final year, they certainly rank comparatively to anybody that was on this draft board. I'm not saying he's as good as Bryce Young. I'm not saying that. But his numbers would suggest it. And we have no idea how that size is going to translate into the NFL. C.J. Stroud, for all his athletic ability and what he showed against Georgia, didn't show that beforehand. And there are, as I've said many times, there are a lot of people at Ohio State that think he's soft. And there may be a little bit of Dwayne Haskins in C.J. Stroud. So just saying. Will Levis, clearly a lot of teams didn't have him on their board for whatever reason. Whether it's he didn't,
I think he came off very arrogant.
That's what
that
we
was
hear.
Anthony Richardson, because they were compared together. Anthony took it as, thank you so much for the opportunity.
Exactly.
I can't wait to come in to compete.
Anthony Richardson nailed the interviews.
Yep.
They loved him, and obviously the athletic ability, but he's a complete wild card. I'm rooting for the kid. I think he's got great upside. I will be watching him play every chance I get. No question about it. So, but, as the Pewter Report asked on their website, is Baker Mayfield better than all these guys? At this point, having played in the NFL? Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
That's a technicality.
Yeah, I know. But if you're talking about who's going to be most effective under center this year, probably Baker Mayfield, just because of the learning curve and the fact that we forget that this is a guy that can throw the ball 70 yards, has one of the from a measurable standpoint, had one of the livest arms in the history of the combine. He can run. We've seen that. He's athletic. He's got great ability to throw on the run, do all the things that you want the modern quarterback to do. His problem has been his attitude early on, which seems to have changed.
I don't get that feeling anymore.
Dramatically.
Yeah.
He has grown up and matured. He has been humbled. So when you ask, and clearly that's the way the Bucs felt. We got two quarterbacks that are better than the guys in the draft. We're not, so much so that we're going to take a guard from North Dakota State with Hendon Hooker on the board, who had a first-round grade by a lot of teams, but the knee really is an issue not only this year, but moving forward.
Well, it's a gamble, though. It is a gamble. And listen, Kyle Trask being the only quarterback on the roster next year, give it about, what are we in right now? We're in May. In about 4 months, you'll have the answer to if that means anything.
Yeah.
Because, again, if he can't beat Baker Mayfield out in this quarterback competition, well, guess what? Kyle Trask is done. That's it.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean anything anymore. You'll fade into obscurity, and Baker Mayfield's your guy, and you most likely, depending on what he does in year one, barring him lighting it up, Geno Smith style, you're restarting in 2024. That I don't see it playing out any other way for the Bucs. I think best case scenario is probably that Kyle Trask just surprises me and a lot of people, and somehow he can play. And now you have a guy who's younger that's ascending, and you can get him on a cheap contract after the rookie year, maybe potentially, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can have that guy, and you can keep adding to this roster, which still has some youth on it, right? I think that's the best case scenario, but I don't think it's the likely one.
But if you look at these last two draft classes for the Buccaneers, okay, let's kind of go through it. Cansey's going to be a starter, okay?
Yep.
Cody, we'll see. Yaya Diaby, what's his deal? Is he taking over for Shoyanka? Guess what?
I think he's there to push him.
Damn right he is. You're damn right he is. We're going to get the best at it because JTS has just not shown me. I don't think he's big enough, athletically talented enough to be that. And he doesn't strike me as a guy that wants it that bad, And he's going to get some. This was a message to him saying, guess what? We're bringing a guy in that's bigger and faster than you and has more upside.
Yeah, and let's be honest, too.
Let's see what you got.
Let's be honest,
so
too.
Like that.
I mean, the game, we got to remember, it's not just draft picks. They brought back Anthony Nelson on a 2-year deal and gave him pretty good money.
Yeah.
They gave Anthony Nelson pretty good money. What is it, like $6 million a year, $6.5 million?
Yeah.
That's pretty good for a backup. So I think he's got to deal with that as well.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Joe, Anthony was more productive than you last year, and he didn't play nearly as much as you did. You start doing what you did last year, well, we're just going to turn it over to Anthony. Yeah. And then you and Yaya are going to have
There's
to
a lot of messages sent in this draft.
There
class,
was.
And that was one to JTS. And Cody Mock was like, okay, all you offensive linemen, okay, I can play anywhere on this line from left tackle to right tackle. Whose job am I taking? Yeah. Not Ryan Jensen's, obviously, not Tristan Wirfs. But the rest of you guys, this is what happens when the draft – is obviously for the fans. You know who else it is for? The players that are on your team. These are messages being sent. JTS, this guy's going to be right behind you in line in every drill and maybe in front of you before when the season starts.
And you think you're a freak athlete.
Yeah.
Well, this guy has you beat.
That's right. So, message sent. Servassier Dennis.
I already know where you're going with that one. Although I don't actually think that's what the Bucs are doing, though.
Well, he's Levante David's replacement.
I truly believe that's what it is.
But
I'm
just in case you don't want to practice this training camp, you want to hold out or not be there, not get fined and hold out like some of the players are doing now. You don't want to play? Okay. I'm going to stick this guy in there. And let's see him run around and make tackles and get off blocks like you don't do. And let's see him rush the passer. He's pretty damn good at that too. Message sent. And if they have to trade him, they can do it now, right? Because they got Servassier. That's right.
You're big on Servassier.
I love that.
You're all in. Is he your favorite pick? Is that your favorite pick the Bucks have made? Is it Servassier? I
like Kalijah Kancey a lot.
Well, after Kalijah, is that your favorite pick?
I think so. Yeah. I like that guy. He is scrappy. He hits, and he's undersized. He's got some Sam Mills in him. That's who my comp is. He's got some Sam Mills in him, who's a Hall of Famer, by the way. 5'9".
Probably we're just going all in with the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
Fame. He's a 5th round pick.
I'm not saying he's going to the Hall of Fame, but he just reminds me a lot of Sam Mills. He's got that military background, very serious, yes sir, no sir.
Yeah, I tell you, my favorite pick so far. I think my pick of the whole thing. I mean, I like Diaby. My only reason why he's not my favorite pick is I think the 3rd round was about a round too high, but they kind of had no choice but to do it without the 4th round pick.
Yeah.
I just think value-wise, Trey Palmer in the 6th, I mean, this offense has been begging for somebody to take the top off and that can get down the field with some speed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think Jason Licht has thrown a lot of darts with late-round picks at receivers. TJ had to bring up Kenny Bell and make me go back down that disaster.
Right.
But Robert Haran, we've been Jalen Darden, my goodness. Scotty Miller, which was short-lived. Tyler Johnson, who clearly didn't want it bad enough.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go on and on and on. He has thrown a lot of darts at late-round receivers, and he hasn't been able to find the stability of what he's needed for that position and what they need. And I'm hoping Trey Palmer can be that guy because I think of those guys, he's probably the most well-rounded one that he's picked so far that has other skill sets to it. And I love the fact that he had 1,000 yards at Nebraska.
Yeah.
That really sticks out to me.
I agree. And 3 70-yard catches to lead the nation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Jose Ramirez and Josh Hayes. You fall in love with these guys because of their good stuff, but when you read their weaknesses, you're like, that's why they lasted till the 7th round. But I know. I just think all of them have, just this, these productive seasons where they've done a lot in the game.
Yeah.
And I like seeing that.
And again, I'm not a big draft grade guy. You're not a big draft grade guy, but it is worth mentioning, I guess. NFL.com, PFF, Pewter Report. The Bucks are getting like an A or an A- on this draft.
Yeah.
Pewter Report loves this draft. I mean, that was the title of their podcast yesterday. The Bucks nailed the draft. So I'm going to try to take them at their word for it because obviously they've dived a lot deeper into these prospects. So we'll see what kind of happens there.
But my other point is that the Bucks need these guys from the 2022 draft to take another step. All right. We start with Gedeke. Gedeke has got to be – if Gedeke can be a starter at right tackle –
just a starter.
That's a home run.
Just a starter.
That's a home run.
Yeah.
That's a huge home run if they can get him to play at that level. And that was his natural position. Why? Obviously he's going to be better there. He played decently against the Falcons, who have the worst pass rush in football. So let's not get too crazy about that. But it's a start, okay? Logan Hall has got to be a factor. He's got to make plays. Yeah. He's a first-round pick or was it top of second round pick.
Yep.
He's got to put on weight. He's got to get some dog in him, and he's got to go make some plays. I want to see him make some plays and be disruptive. And Kalijah Kancey's, he's taking his job right away.
I mean, it's not
you're going to fight. Yeah, you're going to fight back.
It's not going to be close when they first get on the field.
Yeah, but you know what? Are you going to fight back?
Yeah.
Are you going to let him just walk in here and take your job? They drafted him to do so. That's what they told you. They don't believe a lot in you. They don't think you're much. So what do you got in you? If this doesn't light your fire, nothing will. So if they can get the best out of that guy and start getting some rotational, you need it. You need Gedeke to step up. Okay, which brings us to Rashad White. You are going to have a big season. You're going to have a quarterback that can move out of the pocket, who can, hit the running back in the right place, get him the football. There's going to be run-pass options. There's going to be some doubt in the defense, whether you're running the football. Your offensive line is going to be in so much of a better position to knock people off the ball. And I think it's a good offensive line to run the football with Tristan Wirfs and Jensen and some of these big guys. They're going to be bigger and better up front. There's no question about it. Cody Mauch, what are you going to do? So they should be able to run the football a lot better. This offense should be a lot better. And let's not forget, you still have one of the premier duos in football at the outside receiver position in Chris Godwin and Mike Evans.
That should be a lot better this year.
Should be a lot
with
better.
Godwin being healthy.
So my thing is, if you can get these two draft classes to step up, and what they've sent a message to a lot of guys here in terms of competition, you should get the best out of all these guys, right? You've got an offense, I think, that's going to be much better than last year's offense. This team has a chance to be sneaky good. It has a chance to be. Everybody's saying 4 or 5 wins. What does Vegas have them at? 5.5, I think.
I never saw it that way. There's too much talent on this roster, right, barring just catastrophic injuries, for them to be a 4-win team. I just refuse to see that. I still think they're somewhere in that 7 to 9 range.
Yeah,
is where my gut is right now.
And when you look at the schedule too,
the schedule's a little tough. Yeah. I'm not gonna ignore that.
It's hard to throw out there, though.
And it's also hard to again, the offense or how it's going to look, because I don't know. I mean, we're trying to figure out what a Dave Canales offense is going to look like.
See, there's another
and we're trying to model it after what we just saw in Seattle or what we saw with Shane Waldron before. But who knows? Maybe he has something completely different that he has a way of running it that we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's, to me right now, the Bucs are one giant wild card at the moment.
I agree.
Is the way I'll put it.
I'm going down the win totals here. Just keep going. Keep scrolling. Keep 6.5. 6.5.
How many teams are below them? And what are the teams?
Why are they at 6.5 and then the Titans are at 7.5? That's weird.
Well, we did this exercise about 3 weeks ago. Remember, they were 29th on the odds.
Yeah.
With
after the draft, things usually change.
Yeah.
So it's not even in descending order. This is stupid. Why do you do it this way? That's freaking dumb. So I would
venture to say there's not many teams below them, though.
I haven't seen one yet. 6.5. Is anybody lower than 6.5?
Indianapolis.
The Colts, the Texans, which I disagree on that one as well. The Texans may surprise some people. Yeah, that's it.
There you
go.
That's it. They're 30.
And the Cardinals.
So 29. There you go. That's what they think of the Bucs. They think they're in the Cardinals, Texans, and Colts range. I refuse to see that. Refuse to.
There's no way. Unless they get a lot of injuries.
I think a lot of people are saying and pointing to, okay, how many games did we win last year? 8 games? And half of those were because of what?
Tom Brady comebacks.
I think people are logically trying to make it that simple and go, Tom Brady was worth half of your wins because of the late game comebacks where he turned on Tom Brady. That's the way I look at that.
You know how I look at it?
What?
Tom Brady was why you lost 10 games.
All right, enough. I shouldn't have even brought his name up today on the show.
It's true, though.
But that's how I look at how they're. But that's what I'm saying, though. I think that's how they're interpreting it.
Horrible.
But there were so many
18 points a game.
I know that. I'm just saying there's so many other factors that people that make these predictions I don't think are taking into account.
That's such a dumb way to look at it.
It is, but I think that's honestly people are looking at it.
I agree with you.
Tom Brady was worth 4 wins because of the comeback. Now you don't have him. Okay, you're just going to lose half those games now.
But nobody looks at the fact that your offense was, 26th or 27th in points scored last year? And you don't think that with Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask, but more Baker Mayfield in this running game?
I'm just looking at the OC, honestly. I get the OC being gone.
Right.
To me, that's the biggest thing that I think that they have a chance to be better on offense this year than last year is they have competent coaching.
Tom Brady was – I'm not saying that it was all Brady's fault. I don't know, get back into this thing. What I'm saying, it was the whole thing was so dysfunctional. It was completely dysfunctional.
Yeah, and
Brady wasn't Brady because
and
of
for
all the crap
whatever
going
you
on.
want to say, whose fault it was more, all the dysfunction
All of it.
together has been
You scored
exiled from the
18
building.
points a game with Chris Godwin and Mike Evans as your outside receivers. Come
It's
on.
true, yeah. It is
Come
true.
on. You got
Yeah,
they're going to be better this year.
So you've exiled Brady and Leftwich and all the other people that were a part of it that it went wrong. They're all out of the bill. Donovan Smith. Take those pieces out of it. You added some other guys in. There's uncertainty there, but it's still a weird statement to say out loud that you think the offense could be better this year. It is a weird statement to say, but I think it is a thing.
But you really, when you break it down, it's got to be better. It's got to be better just in terms of the predictability of the offense. When you're in the NFL and the other team knows what you're doing on an 85 to 90% basis, you got no chance.
And they're laughing about it.
They're laughing at the sign. They're doing the same thing we saw. It's like they're laughing. That was literally the audio from defenders coming off the field against the Buccaneers. Yeah. You can't play that way in the NFL. You just can't. There has to be some deception of some sort. But we'll see. I'm just so excited for this season to start. Not that they're going to win a Super Bowl, just to see what it's like. Just to see a quarterback run around.
They're in the division hunt.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
They're in the division hunt. How many years? And I know there's an asterisk on it to an extent, but how many years have we? Again, don't take it for granted with this franchise.
Right.
How many years can we continue to say we're going into the season with a chance to win the division?
Not many.
There's not many.
But you cannot. Unfortunately, they do have to play that first place schedule, and they're not a first place team.
No, that's
but
not
a lot
going
of those
in their
teams
favor.
have changed a lot. So
I think the division's gotten a lot better actually this offseason.
Oh, it has. Oh, it definitely has.
And I tell you, the team that continues to grow on me in the division is Atlanta.
Yeah. In fact, let's take a break. Let's come back on the other side. We haven't talked about the Rays at all. What are you doing, Mr. Rays? You're the one who's supposed to be driving this conversation.
I'm in charge of this show.
But you can
kidding me?
You can, do whatever you want on this show.
We got football talk. We had a lot of football talk.
All right, so yeah, I do want to, and we're going to have on this week. We're going to get Dave Archer on. We'll get Neighbors on for the Saints. We'll get our Carolina guy on. So we're going to go through all the divisional, see how they did in the draft. But we could just take a quick look anyway, and talk some Rays as well. Lots more to come here on the JP Peterson Show. Stay with us. Insurance coverage can be confusing and expensive. I mean, where do you start? Which companies can you count on to pay out fast and fair? Well, call the great folks at Italiano Insurance. It's a family-owned business. Jeff and Nat Italiano are carrying on the 60-year-plus tradition of giving amazing customer service and giving back to the community through their annual backpack drive for needy students and their support of the local pediatric cancer patients. But it's the customer service that sets them apart. They can shop all your insurance needs and save you big-time money. Don't hop on the internet and waste time looking at some bogus reviews. Talk to knowledgeable agents and not some voice-generated robot. These are confusing times for homeowners, and Italiano's team of experienced professionals can provide the right coverage for every situation. Home, auto, business, life. It's Italiano for all the pieces of your life. Call 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com. Ladies and gentlemen, are you looking to lose weight or just lean up for bathing suit season where there are so many diets and chiropractors and weight loss clinics out there? You don't know where to start, right? We'll start at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Chris Lugo, PA, and his professional staff will devise a personal plan for you that gets results and will help you keep the weight off Everybody metabolizes food and supplements differently. Many of these other approaches are designed for the masses. So how's that going to work for you specifically? It's not. Chris will spend one-on-one time with you to find out what works best for you so the weight comes off safely without the use of harmful drugs and side effects. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Let's rock.
This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show as we roll on through on this Tuesday. Thanks to the great folks at the Golden Diamond Source. It's Mother's Day coming up. What you going to get your mom? Oh, you already got your list.
She helped me out tremendously.
Hey, moms, listen to this. This is what you need to do.
Number one, reminding me when is Mother's Day, because I just wasn't on my radar, to be
15th.
honest.
Yeah,
May
right.
15th.
Yeah.
But sending me a long list in paragraph form via a text of all the exact things she would like done around her home.
No presents.
No
Just
presents.
the gift of service.
Just stop by and provide your service.
Yeah.
Please.
See, this takes all the guesswork out of it for us guys, okay? You know exactly what you need to get or do, and everybody's happy.
There you go.
You know, it's
So
the guesswork.
You don't have to be the guy that's going into Dollar Tree
Right.
on 9 a.m. on May 15th.
If you're going to Dollar Tree on Mother's Day, it's not going to work
You are
out well
down
for you.
tremendously bad.
It is not working out well for you. And you're not giving your mother the requisite respect that she deserves.
I will ask you this, though. If you're buying a card for any reason at all,
Oh,
are
Dollar
you
Tree.
totally against Dollar Tree?
No.
Or like one of those people like, oh, Dollar Tree?
No, there's a lot of things that you should only get at the Dollar Tree.
Like a plunger.
A plunger's there you go. It's not much. There's not much technology to it. You don't have to get one from, Sharper Image that costs $150.
Literally.
Yeah, it's a freaking plunger. Like air freshener for the bathroom. It's
Yeah.
$1. You got to have it in there. We definitely got to have it in there. It's $1. Toilet paper. Any paper products? Yes. Dollar store. As long as you get the 2-ply. Make sure it's the 2-ply.
I'll call a timeout there. No,
You can't get don't get the single ply. They have 2-ply
no.
at the dollar store.
Not at the Dollar Tree.
They do.
But I'm not buying it from the Dollar Tree.
Why not? It's the same stuff.
It ain't happening.
It's the same stuff.
Yeah, I'll get like laundry detergent at the Dollar Tree all day,
Yeah.
and the little
Yeah.
pods.
Don't
and all
fall into
that.
the Tide thing. Why do people pay 3 times as much for Tide? It ain't that much better.
You know, the little pods.
Any Tide product. Like if Tide,
I could give a rip.
No.
I don't care.
Is it that much better than Gain? No.
Or what's the one at Dollar Tree?
Did
It's
I
the
get
purple
BOGO
bottle.
all the time? Yeah. Yeah. Smells good, right? Yeah. No, cards are good.
Cards to me always got to be bought at Dollar. If I turn around on a card someone gave me and I
it's
see
like $6.95.
$6.99, like
Come
I'm
on,
offended.
what are we doing?
I'm offended that you spent that much money
Right.
on a freaking card that I'm just gonna go shove somewhere on my drawer and never look at it.
Because you had to go to Walmart. And by the way, what's much more important is what you put in the card, not what some stranger wrote
That's
on
the other
the
thing.
card.
If you get a card, general rule.
Yeah.
If I get a card and there's nothing in there,
What are we doing here? Especially and here's the other thing. If you spent the extra, $2.90, so it's now $8.95 and it pops up and it comes out at you.
yeah,
or
or it
some
makes a
stupid
noise or
thing,
something.
Some origami BS coming at me like, oh, no, what are you doing? That's insulting. Give me a plain card, but then write something heartfelt inside of it. I want your words. I don't want some AI computer generated card that I'm paying $8.95 because it's got a nice little glossy thing
I'm
on
just
it.
saying.
What are you saying?
I don't
to
care what
me?
the card looks like. Just make sure you throw a little Jeffy in there.
Jeffy.
Just a little Jeffy in there.
Really? So it's just about cash money? Are you the guy that opens a card like this?
When I
to
was
see
going,
what falls out?
when I was going through all the cards after we got back from our honeymoon, that was me. I told Casey, I said, I want to open up all the cards.
Why?
And I was flying through them just like, here we go. Passing the money along. That was my role. That's all I really cared about.
You didn't read a one.
I read.
No, you didn't.
Some people have horrible handwriting. If you write in cursive, I'm not taking the time to read it.
Oh.
Some people have horrible handwriting. If you write in cursive, I'm not taking the time to read it. Some people have horrible handwriting. If you write in cursive, I'm not taking the time to read it.
I always write in cursive.
Oh my goodness. I can't believe I forgot to say this, by the way.
What?
This just reminds me. I meant to say this. This happened like when the wedding was. Remember whenever we had a Bible? I don't know if you even knew this. You had to write something at the wedding in a book.
Yeah.
I don't know
We
if you
wrote
knew
something.
that it was a Bible, but you wrote a curse word in our Bible.
I did?
You did.
Well, yeah, I probably did. That was a Bible?
Yes.
I didn't realize it because it was open to a page where you write on it. I'm just trying to be funny.
It was a Bible.
Oh, whoops.
And now we forever have your note and pen where you wrote a little curse word on there in our Bible. And I meant to bring that up after the wedding, and I forgot to. And I'm reminded of it now.
I didn't know
but
it
it's
was a
so on
Bible.
brand, though.
It is on brand. It is on brand. Damn it. It is on brand.
I think you wrote something like enjoy your honeymoon, then get your ass back to work. I think is what you put.
Yeah. So, well, there's a lot worse in the Bible. Trust me. There's a lot worse than ass in the Bible. I can tell you that right now.
Anywho, the Rays.
The Rays. Yeah. So we got a series coming with the Pirates. A lot of interesting stories here. Derek Shelton, who was the not hitting coach here for many years.
I'm just thinking right now. Derek Shelton reminds me of Big Dog. Because I hear many a times where he would go off on Derek Shelton after like a weekend where the Rays would score 3 runs. The best. The Monday monologue on Derek Shelton.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like it was his fault. Maybe you think it has something to do with our payroll is like 20 cents. Derek, you're the hitting coach. Go make these guys that nobody else wanted be able to hit a 98-mile-an-hour fastball like it's his fault. You know,
oh my God.
He did. He got the wrath from Big Dog, like the Derek show. You know, because we all love. Who was the manager then? Rothschild?
No, that was Joe Madden.
Was it Joe Madden?
No, it was Kevin Cash. I take that back.
No,
Kevin Cash has been around for a long time. That was Kevin
2010
Cash.
to 2016.
No, Derek Shelton. I know this was like 2017. I'll fact check it, but I swear like this was like 2017.
Fact check it.
I'll fact check it.
I think you're wrong. But anyway.
I think you're wrong.
So he's coming in. G-Man Choi is coming back.
I'm wrong. Damn it.
What was it?
2010 to 2016.
Oh, I was spot on once again.
Well, it was 2 years of Kevin Cash, so whatever.
Once again, I'm spot on.
There you go.
Yeah. So, but it's hitting coaches. If hitting coaches made a difference, Wade Boggs would have been the greatest hitting coach ever. Like, just like you can't. It's hard to teach guys to hit if they can't hit. It's just weird. There's not a whole lot that a hitting coach can do. Especially like, if they're not paying attention to what you're saying, Randy Arozarena.
Why are the Rays all of a sudden like hitting the lights out and everything?
Listen, Chad Mottola. I mean, did Chad Mottola get stupid last year?
No, but I mean, there's been a lot of tweaks to guys' swings though this year, like extra things that have paid off. Like Rayleigh
they tweaked some swings last year.
I'm sure they do stuff every year until you kind of find the right formula.
I just have a hard time, from what because I ask players this all the time. I've asked hitting coaches all this time. It's like, how much difference can you make? And it's like, it just depends on the situation. If a guy's struggling with a certain type of pitch and you can point it out and tell them where they're pitching you and how they're pitching you, that's good coaching. And that can help you get out of your slump. But, if you can't hit a high fastball because your hands aren't quick enough, ain't nothing a hitting coach going to be able to do to help you out with that. Right? I mean,
load earlier.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just there's not a whole lot you can do. So I don't know. I don't put a whole lot of you can help what you can, but it pretty much is on the hitters.
He's doing good right now though for the Pirates, who again, other than the Rays are not even the greatest story in baseball
anymore.
Just in general, like they're 23-6, they're not the greatest story. The Pittsburgh Pirates being the number 1 team in the NL. TJ hit that on the spot. Who had Pirates and Rays a first-round series on May 2nd at the Trop?
Yeah. First place series, yeah.
Dare I say I'm looking more forward to this series than I am a Yankee series that's coming right after it. Like, I know we're joking about that, but I actually kind of mean it.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see them against this Pirates team.
And G-Man Choi's not going to play because he is injured. That sucks. Javi Guerra gets the open today with Fleming coming in because we know Fleming can't start for whatever reason. He's just got to come in the second or third inning, so that's good. And by the way, we didn't even talk about this because we were all up in the Lightning and Bucks last year. Wander Franco's barehanded catch wins the play of the week. That was unbelievable. That was insane. I remember why we were that was right in the middle of a Lightning game.
Yeah. And
so everybody was like huddling around the Rays TV in the Chase Club. You got to see this. You got to see this. And I'm like, see what? And I'm like, oh, this great catch. And I'm watching it. I'm like, is he going to catch that ball? And just full speed just reach out and grab it. Very Kevin Mitchell-esque.
Very.
Yeah, that was insane. So I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to watching some Rays baseball tonight.
Yeah.
And settling in and watching these guys rake.
I know.
Pittsburgh.
And I saw too over this weekend with Chicago. I mean, even some of the guys who were struggling. Isak Paredes in this series against Chicago, 2 hits or more in all 4 games. So he's gotten going. Luke Raley, 2 home runs. How about Taylor Walls? You want to find the most unexpected of unexpected on this Rays team? I think I'm going to point to Taylor Walls.
Yeah.
4 for 5 the other day. He's hitting .302 right now. He's got 4 home runs.
Playing some great defense.
Playing excellent defense. I mean, and the big guys are doing the big guys. I mean, Randy Arozarena, is he the MVP of the American League right now?
Yeah. Buddy Chris the bartender in the Chase Club's got a 250 to 1.
It's a good bet.
Betting slip on
it's
him.
It's a great bet right now.
Yeah, you can win some
it's
serious
to the
jack.
point where they played a game without Wander Franco and without Yandy Diaz, and they still scored 9 runs. Like, this offense is just so deep right now.
Right. No, absolutely. And that's what's so hard to pitch against. We always talked about, they were so easy to it was so easy to pitch around Wander or anybody that was hot in this lineup last year that it just kind of snowballed the other way. All right, so I put on Twitter, if you guys want to go play in the Raymond James Top Golf thing, to give me a thought on the Bucks draft. So let's review some of these and see which ones you like and maybe pick one out to give the tickets to. Let me see here. Interesting graphic, too, that they came up with. A dude in bell-bottom jeans with a terrible swing hitting a golf ball into Raymond James Stadium.
Come on now.
Look at that. Isn't that a weird image to be like a top guy? I guess, for the hipsters. Matty Zeff says, good draft, but will it even matter with Bowles as the head coach? Oh, shots fired by Matty.
I'm sold. I'm right there. I'm sold.
I'm not hating on it. All right, let's listen to it. In Tom We Trust Pronouns says, we didn't draft anyone from the Arkansas State Red Wolves. Has that been a thing in the past?
I don't recall one Arkansas State Red Wolf.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I missed it. I missed the reference, man. Maybe it went over my head, but I'm sorry. Devin Garnett says, not sexy, but needed.
That's a fair assumption. I think that's a fair way to put it.
I like that.
These drafts have not been very sexy the last 3 years now.
What would be your comp on this draft if you were saying for a female out in the ether sphere here?
That's a weird question to answer.
Like, what would be your comp on not sexy but like a girl that is not sexy but you don't want to go there.
I don't even know where
even. Man.
I don't. I don't have a good answer for that.
Think on that for a little bit. I kind of like Maddie's. I do too, because he gives me a nice question to ponder on too. Yeah, let's see Maddie's. Let's see what his. He's FGCU Sports Management 23.
A fellow Eagle right there.
Yeah,
I'm sold.
Kind of like this dude. All right, Maddie, you're the winner, and Devin, you come in second. So stand by. We may make you. We'll contact you and get your information. So I will DM you. I got to follow there, Maddie. I'm already following Maddie. That's good. I know I'm following Devin, so I'll DM you guys and get you some. See if we can get you some tickets for this Raymond James thing. By the way, tickets are still available if you want to get out there. Go to Ticketmaster. Just I tweeted it out, so you can go right on the tweet and hit that and get to the tickets on Top Golf Live. Top Golf Live, May 4th through the 7th at Raymond James Stadium, where you get to hit golf balls into the pirate ship. That's what I'd be doing. I'd just be taking out a 4-iron and just aiming for a cannon. Just try to whack one off the cannon. They must have to put up nets on all over everything.
Yeah, I would assume it'd be like nets all over.
I can't wait to see this. This is going to be really cool. So you can still get your tickets. Top Golf Live at Raymond James Stadium. It's going to be a great vibe. It's going to be lots of fun. So check it out. All right, you want to read some of the some of our comments from our loyal listeners here today?
Yeah, let me go through here.
Let's get my my glasses on here.
Expecting this, talking about the Pirate series here again. G-Man Choi not playing, but expecting a G-Man Choi chant tonight. You already know it. We better have a G-Man Choi chant. Better get a video and an ovation. I absolutely agree with that. I miss G-Man Joy. You miss G-Man Joy?
Of course.
Just the energy he brought.
That lovable big pork chop. I love that guy.
Yeah, I know Lonnie's in the comments here. Lonnie, I think you went to some of the White Sox games this weekend, and you are one brave man to go watch that baseball team play right now.
Which one?
Huh?
Which one?
The White Sox.
Yeah, that's right, too.
Absolutely horrendous.
What the hell is Lonnie talking about?
What?
Back that up. Back that ass up, Rikishi.
Oh, that's when you were talking about Kalijah's trunk.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Let me ask you a question here. Do you know who Rikishi is?
I do not know.
Of course.
Is that another wrestling reference?
Yeah, it is.
Well, then you're supposed to answer these people. I don't know what the hell's going on with that.
Look, you want to see Rikishi's trunk?
Yeah, sure.
Hold on,
I guess.
Is
it a girl or a guy?
Jeez.
What is it? I don't know. Is it a girl or a guy?
It's a man. I can't
then
confirm.
No, that's a big fat no. I don't want to see some rest.
You want to see this? This was his finishing move, or not his finishing move, but his signature, the stink face. Put that thing.
Come on, dog. Come on. This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is what you get excited about in sports.
Look at this.
Some guy putting his ass in some other guy's face called the stink face, and this is supposed to be entertainment. See, this is what you guys go gaga over. This thing right here. What are you, 5?
I was 5 when he was doing this.
Okay,
yeah.
But you're not 5 anymore, and you still love it.
Look, what
is wrong with you?
Look, here's The Rock putting Vince McMahon's.
Well, it is funny.
Come on, it's The Rock putting Vince McMahon's face in this man's ass.
How old are you people? You're grown ass men, and this is your entertainment.
It's funny.
It is funny, but
you had to see.
I'm not paying $500 for WrestleMania tickets or whatever the hell you people pay to go see some man stick another man's face in his ass. What are you guys talking about? And you act like it's a real sport too. Oh yeah, was that in the playbook? Maybe the Bucks should put that in the offensive playbook. The Rikishi stink face or whatever the hell you call it.
The stink face.
What are you doing? This proves my point. Oh, here I am talking about guys,
I got to get you. Raw's coming to Tampa, I think later this month. I got to get you there.
Who is?
Raw is coming to Tampa.
I went to one, and I got the backstage tour. Saw all the guys reading their scripts.
Aren't you special?
Yeah, it's great. And I honestly, my take on the whole thing was, are y'all going to wrestle? Because all he did was stand in the ring and talk the whole time. I was like, is anybody going to wrestle at any point here? Is somebody going to get thrown around? Are we going to get the Dusty Rhodes coming off the turnbuckle? Because all y'all do is talk.
We're telling stories. We're setting up matches.
Yeah, but it took forever. It's it was nonstop talking. I'm like, I could go down to the church to get this. What are we doing here? I want somebody coming off a turnbuckle, taking off a head. And then we're talking about.
Come on, we're
building up a love interest.
You could go see Dusty's son and everything. You do the whole thing.
Let's get back to some sports. Any options you might consider for QB3 on the roster next year? God, I haven't even gone through what's out there.
I believe they brought in one of their undrafted free agents.
Yeah, I did see they signed someone from an arm.
I think it might have been Incarnate Wood.
Yeah.
Did I get that right?
Yeah, maybe.
Might have been Incarnate Wood, but I mean,
we got the all-name team then.
I mean, we're all over the map.
Servassier, Incarnate. And what else? And Yaya.
Yaya.
And Kalijah.
Kalijah. Malk.
Richie P stating the obvious. Darden couldn't get to. How did that guy stay in the league for 2 years?
Is he still in the league?
I mean, it's just unbelievable. The guy just ran to the sideline.
He might be my least favorite Buck of all time, and I have a lot of competition for that.
You told me Jose Ramirez to Tampa Bay, I'd have thought the Rays finally made a big trade. Oh, I see what you did there.
Did you see the Bucks messed up on Twitter with that?
No, what did they do?
The Bucks posted the graphic welcome to Tampa Bay, Jose Ramirez, and they put the picture of Jose Ramirez, the Guardian uniform.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, an intern screwed it up.
The Guardian said no, you can't have him.
Oh, I did not see that.
You didn't see that?
Funny.
Yeah, it was a little funny, moment there.
That's funny. Whoops. You got to watch those social media people. What else we got? Outside of you guys, I'm sure there's enough talk being made about the Syracuse running back, Sean Tucker. I guess his heart ailment is a real deal. Yeah, that's a
I think he's going to compete for meaningful snaps, man. I mean, he just got to beat out Laird, Keyshawn Vaughn, and Chase Edmonds.
I mean, he should. I mean, that's credentials. He's able to play in college. You know, I guess you don't want to waste a draft pick on somebody who can't play. But and Richie P tells you to Google Dr. Vinny Bombats.
I did, and I came away very confused.
Okay, what did you come away with?
I actually couldn't even describe it. Do you know who Dr. Vinny Boombats is?
Absolutely, I know who Dr. Vinny Bombats is. Ask Rodney Dangerfield, Johnny Carson. Dr. Vinny Bombats.
I don't even know who Rodney Dangerfield is. That's a conversation for another day.
You don't even know who Rodney Dangerfield is? You're giving me crap about
great
wrestling?
time. It's the end of the show that I don't have to be roasted for that.
All right. Thanks to TJ Reeves. What a show today. We'll be back tomorrow with more fun and frivolity. Go Rays.